Our final Leaders Division coach is Penn State head coach Joe Paterno. Paterno is in his 46th season at the helm of the Nittany Lion program. Paterno became the first FBS head coach to reach 400 career wins last season before taking Penn State to its 37th bowl game under his guidance. The Nittany Lions returned 15 starters from last year, including 7 on offense and 7 on defense. Coach Paterno will give you the option of an opening statement.
Not really, except good to see all of you here, and looking forward to another great college football season. I'm excited about it, and I hope we're going to be a little better than we were last year, but we'll find out. So with that, I'll take any questions.
All right, go ahead and raise your hands.
And speak up when you do it, will you guys?
First one's down here to our right.
Hi, Joe. Could you compare the way your physical condition and the way you feel to a year ago at this time?
Well, I feel a lot better than I did a year ago. I had 2 tough years physically. I had the kid from Wisconsin running at me there in the sideline when I broke my knee that time, and then I threw my hip out, showing off before I should have, trying to show the kids how to kick a football. And I couldn't kick when I was healthy, and I sure as hell couldn't kick with a broken knee. But anyway, no, I feel good. I'm back to doing a lot of things I used to do, walking a lot more. I've been watching what I eat. I feel good. I enjoyed the spring. I've got a lot more enthusiasm, and I've got an old saying that I've had forgotten, that Marv Levy, because you guys said about film. They asked Marv Levy one time when he was coaching. He was a great coach. Said, "How about your age?" And Marv says, "Well," he said, "I don't think age is a factor." He said, "I'm old enough to know my limitations, and I'm young enough to know how to handle them." So anyway, I feel good. That's a long answer to a nice, simple question.
Over here on our right with Paul here.
Hi, Coach. Some of the experts are pretty high in your secondary. What are your feelings on that group? Are you optimistic about them?
About who's this?
Secondary, your defensive backs?
Well, I don't like to get into personalities right now. I think we got a lot of work ahead of us to do. We haven't had any preseason practice yet. I think that we have a chance to have some people who can play well. I don't think we played very well last year. I don't think I did a very good job coaching last year, to be frank with you. I think I've got to do a better job, and everybody's got to do a better job, and we've got to set maybe a little higher bar as far as our standard goes. So I'm not going to really get into some of that stuff.
Down here on the right.
Coach, can you comment on the changes the Big Ten Conference has made and the prospect of playing in the championship game?
Well, I think the conference is, one thing I feel extremely good about is the fact that Nebraska's in it. I think most people know I was trying to get another Eastern team in the Big Ten. I was hoping we could either get Rutgers or Pitt or Syracuse in there because it would be a little bit more convenient for us as far as the media and things like that. But when we got Nebraska, that was a real coup, and I think that it's going to make the league tougher. I think that, and I don't think you get the tougher the other guy is, the better you get if you're a competitor. And I think bringing Nebraska in was a real big asset. And I think the league is great, and the fact that it gave us an opportunity to play for a conference championship game, I think it's kind of exciting. It really is. And it's something we want to do. And the division we're in, if we can win it, and we end up playing the winner of the other division in a big game in Indianapolis, that's great. It'll be fun and something to look forward to.
Stay here in this row.
Hi, Joe. Ohio State has been one of your big rivals for the last several years. I'm curious to get your thoughts on the turmoil Ohio State experienced the last few months.
Well, I don't. You guys have talked, I think. I don't know enough about it. Ohio State, to me, has been a great college football program through the years, and for all of a sudden now there's something going on out there that I just don't know. I don't know enough about it. And I sure as heck don't want to start being critical of situations when I'm not that familiar with them. And I'm not tried. I try not even to read anything about it. I don't think. I try to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do, period. If we do what we're supposed to do, and I worry more about answering the question about whether we're going to have an opportunity to play for the conference championship. Those kinds of things are the things that I think about.
We'll go to the middle all the way to our right in the back.
Joe, this is the last year of your quote-unquote so-called contract. I just wondered, how do you feel and what's your future plans?
Well, I feel great. I really do. Is this the last year of my contract? I don't even know I got a contract. I don't pay attention. Hey, when I got the job? Back when I was 16 years assistant coach at Penn State. Rip Engel came in and said to me, I'm going to retire, and I think you've got a good shot at the game. And Rip had been my college coach when I played at Brown University. The athletic director was Ernie McCoy, who at one time had been the assistant athletic director under Fritz Chrysler at Michigan, had been the basketball coach in Michigan, and had been an assistant football coach at one time in Michigan. He became to Penn State in those days, the athletic department used to report to the dean of the College of Physical Ed before we now have kinesiology. It's not physical education anymore. But he called me in the office and he said, Rip's retiring. I said, yeah, he told me. He said, do you want this job? I said, yeah. He said, okay, it's yours. I said, oh, that's great. He said, you get $10,000 a year. I said, 10,000. He said, I'm teasing. 20 you're getting. 20. Never signed a contract. 4 or 5 years later, when the Patriots were fooling around with me, they called me in and said, hey, we better sign a contract. So the guy by the name of Patterson was the vice president in charge of business. He says, we're going to go out to Pittsburgh, get a contract. I says, why do I have to go? You guys write up the contract, bring it back, I'll sign it. All right. But having said that, this day and age, all right, the one thing I am really uptight about it is too many people who are not involved in the day-in-day operations of a college athletic program have too much to say, and that's trustees, that's boosters, that's media, all right? There's a lot of people influencing decisions that are made because we have coaches getting fired, backup coaches, all those kinds of things didn't exist when I was coming up the ladder. So it's a little different ball game, but that's the way it went. So I don't even know. Probably got a year on a contract. But I feel great. I really do. I'm kind of excited.
All right, we'll go down here in front on our right.
Joe, with all the scandals and number of schools that are on probation currently, is this one of the worst stretches of college football since you've been coaching? And if so, why do you think that is?
I'm not quite sure I know what you mean by the worst what.
As far as the number of schools that are currently on probation, the number of the various scandals involved in college football these days?
Oh, gee, we've always had problems. And you're going to have problems when you've got the kind of competition that's going on. And it may be that I tell a story. In the old days when I first started to coach, I lived 4 blocks off the campus. We don't have a big house. We've been there for a long time, my wife and the kids. Well, the kids are all gone, obviously. But and I used to get a telephone call from one of the campus cops would say, hey, Coach, you better come up here and get a hold of Mike. He's had too much to drink. He's making a lot of noise. And I'd go up there maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, grab Mike, bring him home, put him in bed, get him up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and run his rear end off for a week. You guys never heard of it. Okay, never heard about it. And every once in a while I hear one of these guys that I know a little bit about when they were 19 and 20 up talking about, the kids today. They ought to go back and read Socrates. Socrates, 400 years BC, said the kids today are terrible. They're tyrants. They tyrannize their parents and they don't pay attention. All right, that's 2,500 years ago. Okay. Anyway, I'm shooting my mouth off too much here. Let's go.
We'll go here to Adam here on the aisle.
Joe, what do you expect out of your quarterbacks when you guys start camp, and specifically Rob Bolden?
At quarterback, I think we're going to be. I think we'll be better. Whether we're going to be good enough, I don't know. Kids have. We had 2-3 kids at Good Springs, and we're not allowed to watch them in preseason. I got in jam because I'm walking by, the kids are running around, and I walked by and watched them. Didn't even talk to a kid, and I mentioned that on some TV show I was on, and we had to turn ourselves in. I'm not supposed to even watch them run, so I don't know how they're doing this summer. But everybody seems to be enthused, and the quarterbacks, they'll stop by the office every once in a while, and I'll say, how you doing? How your studies okay? And all that kind of stuff. How things going? But I think we're going to be better there. We'll see.
Go over here on our right.
Hey, Joe, with all the coaching changes we've seen in the Big Ten and throughout the NCAA this year, what's the secret to keeping your job in this profession for so long?
Well, we don't have as many of you guys around as some of these other guys. That helps. We're in that little town up there in State College with most of the guys. I don't know. I think the environment in our place maybe a little bit different. As far as the people who have some impact on who's going to coach, who's not going to coach, I think that's had something to do with it. And we've had enough success that you can fool people that you're maybe a better coach than you really are. But I don't really know. I just, get up and do my job. And, if somebody had called me in one time, maybe 5-6 years ago, there was some people talking to me about maybe I ought to quit. And I didn't think I was ready to quit. And I said, well, if I can't get something done here in the next couple of years, then I'll quit. And we've had some pretty good teams in the last couple of years, up to last year. Last year we weren't very good.
All the way in the back.
Yeah. Joe, you mentioned that there may have been some episodes of player misbehavior, but there's never been major rule violations at Penn State with you as coach. Why and how have you guys been able to avoid that?
Oh, boy. Well, maybe we're lucky. I don't know. I'm not a... what the good Lord said, let he who has not sinned be the first one to cast a rock. I don't know. I really, I preach all the time when I tell our alumni all the time, hey, stay out of it. We try to keep them informed as to what they can do legally and what they can't do legally. I constantly talk to the staff about, hey, every once in a while they'll come back and say, hey, so-and-so is doing this, so-and-so is doing that. And I say, well, look. And I go back to what Rip Engel used to tell me when I was an assistant coach. He used to say when I'd come back all upset that maybe when I was trying to recruit some hotshot and I lost him and I'd be all upset, he'd say, hey, Joe, don't worry about the guys we lose. Only make sure the guys you bring in here belong here. And they're coming here for the right reasons. And that's probably been, something I preach that all the time to the staff. Don't worry about it. If somebody wants to horse around with something or he suggests that maybe he wants something, hey, walk away. Walk away. But that doesn't mean that we've always walked away. I don't know. I try to keep a track of it. But it's nice to know we haven't had a major violation. I'm proud of that.
One final question.
But I'm not going around gloating about it.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
One final question down front.
Coach, what's your feeling about the strengthening of the taunting rule now, about the prospect of possibly taking points off the scoreboard if the
I don't know. Taking plays off the score.
well, they're talking about strengthening the taunting rules. About do you think they're strong enough now, as far as how they penalize the teams right now? It's a lot stronger than it is in the NFL. It seems like the NFL encourages that. As far as as the rules in college, are you satisfied with how they are as far as how they deal with that?
I really don't. I haven't. That's the first time I've heard that's a possibility in our game. And to be frank with you, I'm not even sure what's going on in the pro leagues. I don't pay much attention to pro football. I mean, and that's not to be, be blasé about a great game. I have enough troubles trying to keep up with these young coaches in college football. I think college football's got so many great young coaches today compared to when I started. I mean, the coaching is phenomenal, what they're doing. So I don't know the consequences of what might happen when they do that.
All right, that's all we've got. Thanks a lot, Coach Paterno.
Okay, thanks, guys.